What's going on, guys? This is David here. In today's video, I'm going to show you 5 of the best tweaks you gotta get your hands on for summer of 2019. Starting off the list, at number 5 we have the Nintendo Switch HUD. This is pretty cool and pretty straightforward. It does exactly what you think it would do. It ports the Nintendo Switch volume HUD that you see on the Nintendo Switch over to iOS. For nearly 13 years now, Apple has had that obtrusive volume HUD that we've been used to popping up in the middle of the screen. This isn't a unique tweak by any means to fix the volume HUD. There's been so many tweaks to do that because the volume HUD is just so annoyingly obtrusive. But it's cool and it's interesting to see how the implementation from the Switch works on iOS. As of the recording of this video, WWDC 2019 is tomorrow and Apple is slated to announce iOS 13. With it, it's rumored to include a dark mode as well as a redesigned volume HUD, which I really hope they do because iOS desperately needs it. Just an update, iOS 13 was announced and there was a brand new volume HUD. They just kind of ported the volume control from Control Center over to the main UI for volume control on iOS. But the good thing is, if you press the volume buttons again, you get a much skinnier volume control, and this implementation definitely looks a lot better than it used to, so I will give Apple that. Cool tweak, it's free, and if you want to have sort of a similar looking volume HUD, say you use the Nintendo Switch a lot and you want to have that uniform maybe across your devices, this is a pretty cool tweak that can do just that. At number 4, we have Nereid. I don't know. Every time I go to Google to look to see how to pronounce this, it gives me like 3 or 4 different pronunciations. So we're just going to go with Nereid because that's what I feel like is right, but I don't know. Anyway, this in conjunction with another tweak on this list makes for a really cool lock screen. So Nereid actually combines the album artwork of whatever album or song that you're listening to via Spotify or the music app or whatever with your lock screen. So it gives it a nice sort of dynamic tone as you're changing different songs and as you're going further in your playlist. It just looks pretty interesting and the controls just look clean and everything just looks nice. I don't install a whole lot of lock screen tweaks just because I like to have my device sort of near stock, but I think this looks pretty well designed. Up next, we have a tweak I'm sure all of you know and love. Springtomize 4 is finally updated for iOS 11 and iOS 12. With Springtomize, the amount of customization is limitless. For example, normally in iOS, a screenshot looks like this, but with this tweak, you can revert back to the old screenshot style that used to be on iOS in iOS 10 and below. With Springtomize, you also have the ability to have cool lock animations, such as an exploding lock animation, a blur, an old TV animation, a slide away animation. There's so much you could do with this tweak, and for the price of $4.99, I think it is well worth it. I am definitely glad to see this tweak updated for iOS 11 and iOS 12, and I really hope there are some new features that come along in future updates. One thing I will say though is this tweak may or may not have some bugs. I tried hiding the dock and hiding the background and then turning off a couple of features, and then before I knew it I was in safe mode and there really was nothing I could do except uninstall the tweak to fix this. And whenever I installed the tweak again, it would just automatically crash to safe mode because it remembered the settings I already had set. So just a heads up if you experience any crashes as well. At number 2, we have Gesto. This tweak gives me some serious nostalgia vibes from OXO, and I love it. I just love the multi-centered vibe that it gives, all of this type of stuff where it combines the control center and the multitasking view. I just think this is a really, really cool implementation for iOS 12. A useful feature as well is if you swipe down on an app card, you can decide to lock that app card in the multitasking view. What this means is if you try to close out of that app, you can see it just doesn't let me. So this is useful if you have a music application open like Spotify or the music app or even YouTube. If you decide that you don't want to close a specific app, no worries, just swipe down on the app card and you're good. For this tweak, there's a bunch of settings you can configure. I had it set to multi-side, but you can have it set to side-by-side, which is kind of interesting. You can see there's the third option, which is a control center option, and then it just pushes a full-on page to the control center. It kind of looks like how you would swipe down from the top right on an iPhone 10 and above display, and it would bring up the control center. That's basically what it looks like, and That's an interesting implementation, but I think I do like the multi-slide. It just looks better, and it just looks more like OXO, but this is an option, this is an implementation, so if you feel like using this, you can do it. I imagine it looks even better on iPhone 10 and above devices, but it looks good enough on my 6S, and I really do enjoy this tweak, and I think it is worth the premium price tag. Nowadays, most jailbreak tweak related YouTube videos don't really cover tweaks that cost money because people want to see top free tweaks. However, I do think an exception should be made if it is a tweak that is really, really cool. So while this isn't a free tweak, it is $3.99, and I think it is worth that price because I think you're going to find if you do buy this tweak that you do definitely enjoy it. Before we get into the number one tweak on this list, here are some honorable mentions. For whatever reason, these tweaks did not make the main tweak list, whether it was because there were some bugs or just because I didn't think it was good enough. Here are some honorable mentions. With it being around WWDC time, maybe you miss old iOS. 6LS brings back the iOS 6 style lock screen, and you can see there's a slide to unlock view right there. This tweak would come in handy if you want to theme your device and give your device an iOS 6 style look again, but in a modern aspect, this tweak doesn't really fit. Return to prefs is also really cool because it solves a problem you didn't even realize you had. If you're deep into the preferences of a tweak and you want to go back out, but you want to do it really kind of quickly, normally in iOS you would have to swipe over to the right and you would be able to do that, but with just a tap of this button, you can easily return to the main preferences pane. Normally in iOS, you can swipe through pages of apps and it looks like that. But with this tweak called Page Bar, you can change the indicator when swiping from page to page. Our Chrome makes your battery indicator just look kind of interesting. I don't know. This is not that big of a tweak, but I felt like it deserved honorable mentions just because it looks pretty cool. With pencil charging indicator, I think it looks pretty cool, but this didn't do enough on its own to make the actual list. Home gesture brings iPhone 10 style controls to your old devices, and it makes it feel new. It refreshes it. I mean, since installing this tweak, I find myself using the gestures instead of the home button. You can swipe on the bar on the bottom of the screen just like you can if you have an iPhone 10 device or above, and it makes for a pretty seamless experience. You can swipe on the top right corner and get access to the control center much like you would on an iPhone 10. At our number one spot, we have Mitsuha Infinity. This tweak builds on what was fantastic about Mitsuha 11, and it adds some insane things and insane customization, giving your now playing interface a pretty cool design. I mean, it's just crazy. I love this tweak. I'm so glad I was able to make it number one. I was a little worried I wasn't going to be able to do it because there were some bugs that was making devices freeze and crash, but it looks like those bugs have been fixed by the developer. From the home screen to the lock screen to the lock screen widget, you can animate so much of this tweak, and there's bars, there's lines, there's waves. I mean, this tweak just looks super, super cool. You can see I have my own custom colors there, and you can change to whatever color you want. So it can be green, yellow, blue, orange, red, whatever color you want. You can change the amount of, lines or bars or waves or whatever. I think either way, this tweak is really cool, and no matter what you decide to choose, it's gonna look good either way. Alright guys, that pretty much does it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy, please make sure to leave a like. Also, comment down below what your favorite tweak is and what you thought of this video. I'm curious. Thank you guys again so much for watching. Make sure to go ahead and subscribe. Turn that post notification bell on. That way you never miss out on a brand new video. And I have a video coming out very shortly, so make sure to stay tuned for that. Follow me on all my social medias linked down below in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, this is David signing out. Have a good one, guys. Peace.